Hello everyone, my name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. In this video, I want to show you how to use the built-in abbrev mode of Emacs to define abbreviations. Abbreviations are snippets of text that are used to type something and have it be replaced by something else. The most common use case probably is to type something short and replace it with something longer. Let me show you how this works, and then we will delve into the technicalities. I will type now in my buffer me git. This is one of my abbreviations. Because I haven't enabled abbrev mode yet, if I press space, nothing happens. Now let me do the same. I will type me, so I will enable abbrev mode, and I will type me git, which is one of my abbreviations, and I will now press space. And now Emacs has replaced what I typed with the expanded version of this abbreviation. So now I get what I actually want to have in the buffer. And here I just have that link over there. And basically, this is the idea with abbreviations. You are typing ordinarily, and what you have defined as an abbreviated form will be replaced by its expanded form. This is the gist of it. You don't press tab, you don't do any kind of completion. It's simple text expansion. But we will see how you can be more involved with this and make a best use of it. Let's start with the function define abbrev. And what this function does is it defines an abbreviation. Abbreviations are stored in what is known as abbreviation tables. This is the variable that holds the association between an abbreviation and its expanded form. There is, by default, the global abbrev table. And the global abbrev table is what defines abbreviations that apply across all buffers by default. But we will see there are more kinds of tables. We will see it in a little bit. Let's define an abbreviation very quickly. Me test is what I will be inputting, and then the expanded form here is a global abbrev for demo purposes, like this. And I will evaluate this now. And I have successfully created the me test abbreviation for the global abbrev table. I just use me as a prefix there so as to avoid false positives. When I type, I don't want to get expansions for stuff that is not what I intended to have. Let's see this in action. Me test and space, and I get this right away, the expanded form. This is looking very promising. Because the global abbrev table applies to all buffers, it means that what I did here will work in other major modes as well. Let's see this in practice. I will create a text mode buffer. We can see it on the bottom window. And in this buffer, I will do check, and I will do me test. And I see that here it gets the same as the window above, meaning the global abbrev for demo purposes. Now, as I said, there are more abbreviation tables. It's not just the global abbreviation table. Every major mode defines its own abbreviation table. And the idea is that we can have abbreviations that are specific to a given major mode. We don't have just one global one, and then we don't know how to resolve conflicts. So let's see this in practice. We have, for example, the text mode abbrev table. The name of an abbreviation table is composed from the name of the major mode and the suffix abbrev table. And there are a few exceptions, but this is the rule. So we have text mode abbrev table, meaning the abbreviation table that applies to text mode. So let's see what happens in this scenario over here. Let's call it differently. Text mode abbrev expansion here, for example. So I am defining an abbreviation now that is not in the global abbreviation table, but rather in the abbreviation table of text mode. Let's do the test here. I will do me test here, and here I get the global abbreviation. Let's comment that out. And what about here? Check the same me test, and here now I get the expansion that belongs to the text mode abbrev table. The principle that is in effect here is that of locality or of specificity, meaning that when there is a direct conflict between the global abbrev table and the abbreviation table of a specific major mode, that of the major mode will override the one in the global table. So in a scenario like this, we will have the major mode taking effect. They can coexist, of course, but only in the case of a conflict will we see this overriding taking place. Here as we have it. So for me test, not in general. For example, if I have here me git, what I showed you earlier, it's still the same as it was above. Okay, this is the idea. Another principle that is that applies to abbreviations is the principle of inheritance, specifically the inheritance pertinent to major modes. Let me show you this first in effect, and then we will see. So this I have not evaluated it yet. Let's create an org mode scratch buffer, and here I will do the me test again. And we notice now that we get the text mode abbreviation here. We got this because org mode is derived from text mode. In Emacs, we have major modes that are derived from other major modes. Any major mode can be derived from another. And basically, the idea with this is for the user and the developer to be able to configure groups or families of major modes uniformly. So text mode is the parent major mode of org mode, of markdown mode, and a few others. So by defining an abbreviation for text mode, we also have it take effect for org mode. It takes effect in org mode buffers. The principle of locality, the principle of inheritance, but let's see now both principles in action at the same time. So here we have org mode abbrev. Let's also visually differentiate it a little bit like this. So here I am in my org mode buffer, and I will type the same abbrev here, and now I get that of org mode. Because here in this case, we have a conflict between the parent major mode and the org mode, the major mode that we are actually using right now. And because of the principle of locality, because of the principle of which one is the most specific, we have org mode override text mode. This is the idea. But if it wouldn't override, then it would inherit from text mode. And if text mode didn't have anything specific, it would go to the global abbrev table. And this is a principle that we see with key maps and a bit differently with hooks as well. This now, since I mentioned hooks, is a good point to mention the fact that abbrev mode is buffer local. So let's have it here. Abbrev mode is buffer local, meaning that this, if you have this in your configuration file, this is wrong. This is wrong in your configuration file because it is buffer local, so it will only take effect in your configuration file. Whereas what you actually want is to configure it, set it up in major modes where you are typing those abbreviations. So a way to do it is something like this. Add hook, And let's say, for example, text mode hook, and here we will have abbrev mode. And this is the correct. Remember the inheritance of major modes. So we have here, in this case, a text mode hook. Define the hook so that when we are entering a text mode buffer or any derivative of text mode, we have abbrev mode. So we have the parent modes that are most relevant to us. We have prog mode, which is the parent major mode for programming. And then we have text mode, which is for prose related major modes. This is the idea. So the following is the correct. The following is the correct form, and we benefit from the inheritance. Inheritance, the way it works for abbreviations, it works for hooks as well. Basically, this is what you need, what I have here, to use abbreviations. And this is more than enough. It's good enough. It is simple. It is effective. But we can take it a step further, and I will show you two concrete examples here. These are advanced. These are a bit more involved. But we will see them here, and hopefully you will learn something new, or at the very least, if you don't use this, at least you know that it is a thing. It exists. In the examples above, the abbreviations that I am defining are static, meaning that I type something and I always get the same output. But you may want to define an abbreviation that is more interactive, that does something else, or maybe not interactive, but is more dynamic. So I will define a function here, and this function will be my current time. Let's have it like this. And what this does, it inserts the return value of format time string. And let's insert this. Of course, I won't go into the technicalities of format time string. This is not relevant now. What I want to do is show you how this works with an abbrev. But let's evaluate the function. So let's see what happens. It gives us, of course, we don't need this. It gives us the current time, like that. Okay. And if I evaluate, if I evaluate again, it gives me another seconds and minutes and hours. This is the idea. Let's now see how we can integrate this into our abbreviation framework over here. We are defining an abbreviation for the global abbrev table, but actually it doesn't matter which table. And I will say now me, and I will call it din for dynamic. We have this. And this is like the abbreviation. And then we have the expansion. You will see above that it is the abbreviation followed by the expansion. But in this case, I don't want to expand some text statically. What I want to do then is say that this is empty. You are not expanding any kind of text yourself. What you are doing instead is you are using this as a trigger, as a hook. And when I type my din like that, you will actually call my current time like this. Let's evaluate this now. And I will type me din, and I do that, me din again, and like that. And now I have created a very simple way to insert the current time using an abbreviation. Of course, maybe you don't use my din, but of course this is for demo purposes. Let's use another example like this one, but this time we will have an interactive function. There will be some interactivity involved, and my greet person, like this. And what I want to do is declare this as interactive, and the list of arguments here in the interactive specification, we wanted to reflect the list of arguments specified here, making this function idempotent, whether we call it from Lisp or whether we call it with Emacs, and say greet a person like this, and then we will do insert and format, and we will say hello, and then the name of the given person. This is the idea. And what I mean by idempotent in this case, let me call it from Lisp, my greet person, and I will say prot, and if I evaluate this, it will return hello prot, like that. Let's do now mx my greet person, and let's see what we have, and say prot again, and the same idea. So this is what it means. It means that it works the same way whether we call it from Lisp or whether we call it with mx or with a key binding. Let's then return to this point, and then I will say me hi, let's call it like this, and I will now have this, and let's see, me and hi, space, up, and what is the error here? Oh, of course. So I am wrong. This is correct code, but it doesn't work with abbreviations, because in the abbreviation, because it is called from Lisp, it doesn't get the argument. So let's now use this version instead. So what I told you is correct, but it's correct in general. It's not correct in this case where we don't control what arguments are passed to the function. Let me try this now. Me hi space, and now it is telling me greet person, and I will say greet prot, and it says hello prot, just like that. So yeah, this is the idea. But I will keep this form in case you want to use a command like this. You don't need it to be interactive. You see here, it's not interactive, but I kept it like that anyway. So this is one case where you want to use some function to evaluate things and have them be inserted right there. Of course, if you are doing something elaborate, there are template expansion packages such as YaSnippet and Tempel, and probably you want to use those, but this is a lightweight alternative. I think it works well for cases like this, but if you want to do more involved stuff, probably you should be using one of those packages. Now, let's see something else, which is the fact that by default, the abbreviation tables only consider, as an abbrev, only consider what consists of characters that constitute a word. So word constituents. So if I do define abbrev, and this is actually a case where in the past I wanted to do it, but I didn't have the necessary expertise, the necessary knowledge in Emacs Lisp to actually do it. But now I will show you how. So I want to use abbreviations to input emoji because I don't want to type too much, and there are only a few emoji that I use all the time. So let's say we have uni here with a colon in front, and this is for the unicorn emoji. Let me go and get it, unicorn, like that. So here is the idea. Okay, you have this idea, you want to use this, and you are like, wow, this is looking good. Let's try it out. Let me write this message. And you try it, you blindly type out your abbreviation, you hit space, and nothing happens. And the reason nothing happens is because the colon is not a word constituent in this case. And we can see this if we have words here, and if we are at the end and we do the backward word command, meta b by default, and notice where it stays. It stays there, you see? It didn't go past the colon. Let's see it like this. If I am here and I will do meta b, I stop in the same place as I did with the other one, exactly because the colon is not recognized as a word constituent, so it skips it. And because of that, this does not work for us. We can make it work though but it is more involved. We have to set the properties of the abbreviation table. Let me show you very quickly what is in the Emacs Lisp reference manual about abbrev table properties. Over here, I will include this. But the idea is that this is telling you the functions that are available, and then it enumerates, it lists the properties that you can use and what kind of value these properties take. I will show you here. I won't bother you with the technicalities, but based on the manual, and you can evaluate this and get the manual right away. Okay, so based on the manual, what we do now is we will do abbrev table put, I think it was abbrev table put. And the idea is we want to modify our abbreviation table so that it can understand the colon as a word constituent for the purposes of abbreviations. So in our table, this will be the global abbrev table. In our table, we want to have the property regexp. This is covered in the documentation. I won't go into all the technicalities. And now we have to write a regular expression that has two groups, at least. One group is where the word ends, if we are looking backward, where the word ends. And the other is what constitutes the word, in this case, the abbreviation. So I will just write it here, and then we will see it. The idea is that we have one group, and this group will not have a number because we don't want to actually match it. And this group will consist of a set of tabs and spaces that occur, sorry, like this, that occur one or more times. And or it could actually be, let me have it here, it could actually be the beginning of the line or before the word, tabs or spaces. This is the idea. And then the second group, which is the group we actually want to name as group 1, because this is what the documentation is telling us, that the first group is the one that is considered. So for group 1, we have a set of characters. Let's also add the underscore here, because since we are here, why not? A set of characters, which includes the colon and the underscore, followed by any character 0 or more times. And maybe we can also consider the scenario of any word without those characters, like this. And this is it. Let me do a quick test of my regular expression, and I will have here something like test, and then I will have test and test. Let's see over here, and then I want to do as well, I want to do these, and let's see also here, and let's do Emacs rebuilder, regular expression builder, and I want to add my regular expression here, and I see that it is because of this part over here, this part over here, it is matching every word, of course, because I have made it very lax. But like this, it is very strict match now, and we see that it is matching these. It is not matching ordinary words. Of course, in practice, I want to have ordinary words. I don't want to have only the prefix there. So my regular expression basically works. This is the idea. So let's see this in practice. Let's remove that, and let's evaluate this. And let's go back to the unicorn over here, and let's see what we can do. I will type uni space, and now voila, I have the emoji inserted instead of the abbreviation. Let's now try again all our examples, and let's see what we have. So this is a test, and we have the me, and we had the me test, the first one, and this is doing that. And then we had the me time, I think it was, or what was it? I forgot. Of course, me din. Yeah, that's quite an arbitrary name. Me dynamic it was, and this returns the current time. And then let's do the me hi, and the me hi greet person. Let's greet prot, and then let's do the uni like this, and we get the unicorn in place. And basically, this is it, folks. This is the idea. As I said, this is more involved. This is more complex, but I think it's worth the effort. I will include all this in the on my website below where I embed the video. Below that, I will include the contents of the Scratch buffer, so you can copy this and use it as you see fit. I haven't tested it thoroughly, so I am not sure if it will break anything, but I am sure that this part at least works, and it works with all the kinds of abbreviations that I defined here. But it's worth checking. Maybe this is too lax. Maybe we need to be a bit more strict with what we are matching. But this is something that only experience will make clear. That's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for your attention. I will provide a link to my website in the description of this video, and specifically a link to the publication that includes the embedded video and the contents of my Scratch buffer. Thank you very much for your attention, folks. Take care, and goodbye for now.